We good.
Got
All right,
it.
here we go.
Can I thumbnails on this space? Oh, Randy, I forgot to hang on.
What?
I just gave you the share.
Oh, is that? I forgot that as well. So
Yeah.
I've been sitting here listening to it.
Yeah,
Okay,
I was
here
like,
we-
something's missing.
Okay, here we go.
Hang on. Let me restart my shit so it's kind of close.
I am not
at least.
restarting.
Okay, yeah, it's fine. All right, I'm good. All right, we can do it now. Cool.
And away we go.
Okay, ready?
Yeah, we straight chillin', serial killing, pre-core villains on the mic, got you reeling. 5-star rated from the floor to the ceiling. If you catch a 1-star, no time for feelings. And a demon DJ on the ones and twos, by the name Beelzebub, so don't get confused. So grab a seat by the fire, roast them all over two, and prepare to hear the legend of the straight chillin' crew.
What up, nerds, and welcome to another quantum episode of Straight Chilling, the weekly horror movie review show where you chill and we kill, slice, dice, and chop up yet another horror movie. My name's Bob. I'll be your host for the evening. This is episode 386, recorded Sunday, August 28th, 2022. Tonight, we're talking about another Patreon pick. This was chosen by your boy, Dongster Sam. The movie is Coherence from 2013. Before we get into it, let me introduce everyone else on the show. First up, calling in from Washington, D.C., we got our boy, Randy Gandy G. Landy. What's up?
Randy! What's up, buddy? How you doing?
Hey, man. I like your glow stick aesthetic. You're raving,
Oh, yeah,
aren't you?
man. I mean, well, usually, yes. That's not a change.
Raving in
you know,
many
Dongster
ways.
Sam, our boy Dongster,
Our
is,
boy.
has provided with us a very glow stick heavy film. So I figured, hey, why not make the
Yeah.
behind the scenes a match?
I
This is not
appreciate
interesting.
Are raves still a thing, or are those considered chuggy as well? Do people
Dude,
go to raves?
Are
What
you
do
asking if people
do?
dance erotically with each other in a darkened room anymore? Because I
But,
assure
like,
you they do.
It's to dubs. Well, no, it's techno is no longer like it's like dubstep now, right? Or has it evolved again into something else?
Bob.
The electronic music scene. I guess I'm detached from it. I apologize.
Oh man, we're losing demographics like Mach speeds right now.
Yeah, all of the 17-year-olds that listen to our show are leaving. Sorry. Last but not least, calling in from South Korea, we got our boy Soju. What's up, man?
Oh, what up? It's your boy Quantum Stains.
Quantum leap stains. In preparation for this show, I spent maybe 20 minutes on YouTube trying to understand quantum physics.
Oh,
I was like, I just can't. I just can't do it.
Let me just get a quick crash course here.
Yeah,
quantum physics.
I had like a very simple baseline, and I was like, oh, that's not happening. I
you
need to
might
go
be
to
able
school for this.
You might be able to understand one of the Ant-Man movies if you do that, but
maybe
not fucking quantum physics.
I can't even understand a Marvel film. I'm fucked.
Oh, Bob. Oh.
Is the cat alive? Is the cat dead? I don't know.
It's like having a horror movie you're watching that's like, you know, Dr. Death or some shit, and then in order to prepare, you just try and read Grey's Anatomy.
You have to have a doctorate and watch
20
Coherence.
minutes of Grey's Anatomy. I'm going into surgery. Better watch some Grey's Anatomy.
yeah. Grey's Anatomy, the primetime drama, of course.
Not even a whole episode, just some of an episode. And you're good to go.
It's just like a super cut. There's actually
Best lines
nothing
from Grey's Anatomy.
involved.
Yes, yeah. Oh, yes.
Got it. Yes. I am learned now.
Okay.
That's well, before we get into the review, let's tackle some housekeeping real quick here. So here's your final reminder. We do have our September poll pick currently posted on our Patreon website. If you support us at the $5 level or above, you get the chance to vote on a movie we're talking about this September. The theme for September is Spooky Season Pregame. The movies to vote between are Rob Zombie's epic, unparalleled, fantastic Halloween 2, and then I guess Hell House LLC and also Sleepy Hollow.
Bob, how are those numbers looking?
Hell House LLC is still winning. I don't know why nobody's changing their votes to Halloween 2. It's like they forgot. I mean, you still got a few days left, so get it in.
Bob, just start juggling, man. You know, dude, pick up some magic tricks. There's better ways to get that attention, buddy.
Yeah, it's
you don't have to hold water for Rob Zombie. I promise.
I need to hold his water.
Damn.
Sleepy Hollow and Halloween 2 are almost tied, but Hell House, I think, is definitely going to kind of sweep it here.
Cool,
Get your votes in before September. We'll see what we're talking about. We're going to go ahead and announce our October poll pick, since by the time this episode drops, you'll have like a day left in August. So our October poll pick will be posted, or is already posted, depending on when you're listening to this. The theme for October is our Halloween extravaganza. So we're doing something.
Boys.
It's fucking time.
Here we are.
We're doing a special thing here.
We've arrived.
How do we just keep coming up with all these fun, unique ideas? How do we do it?
This podcast is free to listen to. Can you believe it?
How do we do it? Year after year. I don't know.
Hundreds of episodes.
Hundreds.
Years of content.
Nobody's ever podcasted before. We're amazing.
Like nothing I'd ever smelled before in my life.
We've got smell-o-vision on our podcast. Nobody has that.
You can taste
Most
us.
podcasts don't even have regular vision.
You can smell with your ears. Our October poll pick will be posted.
Yes.
The theme is our Halloween extravaganza. So what we're doing this year for our Halloween extravaganza, we're going to have you guys vote on a general theme. So Juice, Randy, and myself have all picked a triple feature. We know exactly what the movies are going to be, and they're thematic in nature, but we're not going to tell you what those titles are. We're just going to present
Mystery
you guys
box.
Exactly.
Trick or treat, bitches.
With the three themes, and then you guys are going to vote based on theme, and then we'll surprise you with the movies we're going to be talking about. So the three themes are going to be voting on.
The themes.
Flames. It's out of my face. They are Psycho Killer Cascase.
Okay.
Yes.
That's the first theme. Second theme, They Dwell Within.
Sounds sexy.
Third theme, Eat the Rich.
Okay.
All
Sounds political,
right.
Bob. You know I hate politics in my
Everybody
in my
knows that you hate politics.
Can't believe people are trying to make something called Star Wars political. You know. It's just
Oh.
it's just
Something
crazy.
called Star Wars.
Shit, man. Can't believe it.
Remember when we
Can't
reviewed
believe it.
Alien, and then someone was like, "Keep your sexual politics out of my sci-fi movie," and we're like, "Okay."
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Do you
I'm
know
so
who
sorry.
made this alien, sir? Are you
Yeah.
aware of the source material?
We didn't.
I'm sorry
just
that you
make
got your
this
boner
up.
on, but that's nothing to do with us.
Oh,
I'm
this alien
distracted.
makes me
My
so
my
hard.
pants tent is too large.
Damn. Need to get some bigger shorts, guy.
I have the biggest shorts. Get your votes in before the
Junior
end of
shorts, baby.
September, and we'll see what three movies we're talking about for our extravaganza episode this October. In other Patreon news, we're going to be dropping a brand new mini cast this Friday. If you support us at the $10 level or above on Patreon, you get access to a whole back catalog of Patreon exclusive episodes. This Friday, we're dropping an episode on Chloe Okuno's The Watcher, which just
Whoa.
hit Shudder last Friday, so it's very easy to watch now.
Nice. Bob, that was me
watch
and
your
you
now.
talking. So that was a little tag team we did. I think those are always a little bit more fun, you know.
Hell
Can't always
yeah.
do them, but we try.
Yeah, tag team. Hell yeah.
But yeah, that was a fun movie to talk about. God, there's so many new movies this year that
Yeah.
it's hard to like. I feel like I just a broken record over here. Like, oh, this was a good new film. This is a good new film. But it was, and I think we had a good discussion about it as well.
Yeah, I agree. If you have not seen it yet, I highly recommend it. If you don't have Shudder, you can rent it on VOD as well. The more I think about it, the more I like it. Honestly, I really highly recommend checking it out. I know some of the like Shudder exclusive movies they can be hit or miss. This one I just really strongly recommend checking it out. And if you want the rest of our thoughts on that, that episode is going to hit our Patreon website this Friday. So check that out.
Nice.
What else we got?
Bob, we are such fools, such sloppy fools.
We're sloppy fools.
Last week we forgot to mention we have a brand new YouTube video up now. It's youtube.com/straight chilling podcast. Headed back to your tiki bar, the Haunted Hideaway, where you made us a delicious little treat. Tell us about that, Bob.
Wheeze a little juice.
Scotch juice.
We were wheezing the juice. So this episode of the Haunted Hideaway is a little different than the previous couple we've released. I did not create a cocktail on this one, but instead I did a bit of a tutorial and gave a brief sort of background on the Zombie, which is a very classic tiki cocktail. It's a very potent drink, and we thought that we would release the video the week we were talking about Requiem for a Dream, because you need a very stiff cocktail to get through that movie. It is difficult and depressing. So why not just chug rum? Why not?
Down some depressants with your depressing film, of course.
Yes, it makes sense. Yes, you can check that out on youtube.com/straight chilling podcast.
Get the juice now.
Dude, nice
the
bump.
Juice now.
Oh, okay.
The last bit of news I have here. This is going to be your final reminder. We are reopening.
We are not reminding you again.
We're not reminding you again.
I'm not your mother, okay?
We are.
Manage your own Patreon.
I am your daddy, but I'm not reminding you again.
I'm absentee.
Calendar, but I am your daddy. We're reopening the You Pick the Flick tier on our Patreon website.
Oh, shit.
So this is going to be for the fourth quarter of the year. So this is the last opportunity you're going to have to outright pick a movie for us to review on the show for this year. We're reopening it on Sunday, September 4th at an undisclosed time of day. So you'll just have to refresh our Patreon website, and whenever it populates, go ahead and grab a spot. There's only 5 per quarter, and they typically go very fast. So you got to be on your toes.
Yeah, things go real fast. You have 15 seconds to grab one.
Yeah, it's quick. And also something that I did not clarify last week when we first mentioned this, and I need to do that real quick. So if you have already grabbed 2 of the You Pick the Flick spots for the year, then you're capped out. Like that's your max for the year. We're two picks maximum per person per year, just to try and like free it up and get some new blood in there, because there's only we only do 20 of these a year, and they go so quickly. We're trying to even the playing field a little bit.
Do we have anyone in that category?
Yeah, there's a couple people, and I don't have the notes in front of me, but I'm sure they know who they are.
You know who you are.
You know who you are. Okay. So yeah, Sunday, September 4th.
You're too good. We're cutting you off.
You're too fucking good. You pick the flick. Yeah, that's all I got for housekeeping. Anything else you guys want to mention?
Oh,
Never.
That's the last You Pick the Flick of the year.
Of the year, yeah.
Oh my
Fourth
God.
quarter.
This has
nuts.
been a banger year, boy.
It has
been a
dude.
pretty badass year.
Yeah.
Fucking
For new
badass.
movies and for most of the You Picks.
You picks, yeah. Yeah, we've had a
Oh.
lot of good ones, honestly. Yeah, thank you
Well
guys.
done, all.
They like legitimately, like if you have grabbed a you pick, like thank you guys for choosing movies that are very interesting to
Yeah.
discuss and ponder. Like it really like it makes our job a little easier, I think.
But also,
so, thank you.
Also, as an aside, thank you regardless, because you don't have to pay us
True.
anything, really.
That is very true. That is true. You can pick whatever the fuck you want to pick, and that is okay.
We are paid whores, so
We're
do it.
sluts. We're just really high
I'm a
dollar
little worried
sluts.
about being a slut.
We're actually low dollar sluts.
That's true, yeah. Bottom dollar. And I mean bottom.
Power bottom dollar sluts.
Whoa.
Mm-hmm. You know.
Anyway, I think this house is clean.
Well,
Sweet.
clean.
This house is clean.
We're finished.
We're never gonna get
here.
through this episode. At
We're,
this
we're
rate.
yeah, we are done with that segment of the show. All right, let's get into the main event. We are talking about Coherence, and we're kicking it off with the back of the box.
What's on the back of the box?
Bob, do you have this box?
No, I don't.
Is there one? I feel like I haven't seen this movie
Yes.
around. There is, okay.
Yeah,
Bob,
yeah, I
do
believe.
hang on. Do
Oh.
you have
The do.
this tiki mug? I'm gonna have to start editing my
Go
questions.
here.
Coherence
Tiki
tiki
mug.
mug. It's
It
just a
would just
glow
be a
stick.
giant glow stick, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I do not have the Coherence tiki mug.
What?
but-
Okay, we'll give it a couple years.
I thought
just
you were
have
gonna
to
get
find
physical media, dog. Come on.
Thought you wanted
Even
physical
get
property,
physical
Bob.
media. We're talking Coherence. This is from 2013 with a runtime of 1 hour and 29 minutes. This was written and directed by James Ward Burkett. It stars Emily Baldani, Maury Sterling, Nicholas Brendan, Elizabeth Grayson, a whole bunch of other folks. Plot synopsis brought to us by IMDb is as follows. Strange things begin to happen when a group of friends gather for a dinner party on an evening when a comet is passing overhead. Gentlemen, had you seen this movie before, and would you recommend people check it out? Randy, kick us off.
Yeah, I saw this movie some years ago for the first time, and I think this might be my third viewing, maybe fourth. Yeah, I'm pretty partial to this film. It felt like this is one of those movies that it's really good quality, and it feels like a discovery when you stumble upon it. And it also, within this year, got a huge boost from Patton Oswalt tweeting about it, and I noticed like a lot of conversation popping up about this movie all of a sudden. So like, if that recommendation means anything to you, great. If not, my recommendation is yes, this is worth watching. It's not a straightforward horror film. It's pretty loosely fits into that category, for my money, but it also it definitely fits into the thriller category. It's got some sci-fi in there, and it's also widely regarded as a quote unquote mind bender. So if you're in the market for something that will bend your mind, this is a movie for you, I think.
My mind. Oh God, it's being bent.
It's bending as we speak.
Like Beckham. All right, Juice, what about you?
So okay, I don't think I had seen this movie before. I know there was a little
Oh.
debate last
What?
week
Who
of
can
whether we
say?
watched it.
Yes.
And that's happened a lot this year. Lake
Yeah, it
Placid
has.
and
This month.
yeah, a couple of things. So I actually, as I started watching it, it kind of gave me some Invitation vibes, but as I was watching, I was like, no, I have not seen this. So I guess I did not watch it with you guys when you watched it. Yeah, I just watched it last night, so I haven't had a whole lot of time to think about it. I thought it was a fun, mystery kind of ride. But so I mean, yeah, in a general sense, I thought it was a pretty entertaining watch for mind-bending kind of horror movies. Yeah. General recommend.
How about you, Bob?
Yes. Yeah, I'd seen this once prior and definitely enjoyed it. It's like one of those things that it's best to watch if you kind of happen upon it accidentally. Like if you know basically nothing about it other than it's like a dinner party situation that gets weird, like that's the best, just that's all you need to know. Put it on, watch it. mind-bendy, as Randy has described it. And I think it's one of those movies that you can watch multiple times and like really like get as deep into the weeds as you care to get on this. And I feel like you can get pretty damn deep. It's also just a great like low budget effort, and we'll get into more of the details on that. But like this is shoestring as it gets, and I think they really make a lot with a very little. So it's very commendable to me on that level as well. But if you're into like weird mind bendy, trying to figure out exactly what's going on, kind of thrillers, then hell yeah, this is right up your alley. Also, it is on Amazon Prime and on Tubi, so it's very easy to find. If it is on disc too, but I think it's all foreign, which is why I didn't pick it up. But you can buy it on disc if you want to do that as well. So yeah, pretty across the board recommendation, sounds like, from the Straight Chilling crew here. We're gonna drop that spoiler warning and get into the rest of the movie. And this is definitely one you don't want to have spoiled, just to be very clear. So here we go.
Spoiler warning.
Bob, do you have this plot synopsis? This might get trippy.
Dude, it is. This is difficult. And this is probably one of the longer synopses that I've typed out. I will try and read very quickly.
You want me to just, give it a whirl?
God,
just burn
to the end. These people show up and eat a meal and then they go home peacefully. Juice out. Juice.
Whoa, you're devolving to Trump voice now.
Sorry, that's definitely not what I was trying to do.
No politics, Bob.
We all know Juice hates politics. Juice disses. Yeah, I've got the synopsis here. So we got 8 friends living in Northern California. They reunite for a dinner party being had at the home of spouses Mike and Lee. On the night of a passing comet, it is Miller's comet. Their friend Amir brings Lori, an inappropriately flirtatious woman who used to date Kevin. A power outage occurs. Mike and Lee bring out a bunch of candles, several boxes of different colored glow sticks to use for light. The friends each take a blue glow stick. The entire neighborhood has gone dark except for one house that still has power. When they go back inside, they notice a broken glass on the table no one remembers damaging. Best husband Hugh and Amir decide to go to the lit up house and ask to use their phone, as Hugh's brother has insisted Hugh call him if anything strange starts to happen. When Hugh and Amir return, they both have wounds on their face and are carrying a lockbox, which turns out to contain a ping pong paddle and photographs of everybody, including one of Amir that could have only been taken that night. And they all have numbers written on the back of the pictures as well. Hugh, deeply upset, reveals he looked into the other house and saw a table set for a dinner party of 8, sort of alluding that it is a mirror image of their house. The group realize as much, basically. Emily, Kevin, Mike, and Lori decide to go to the other house. Together, they carry some glow sticks for light. On the way there, they encounter a wandering group of exact doubles of them carrying red glow sticks. Hugh goes to his car to retrieve a book belonging to his brother, who is a physicist, containing information about the concept of quantum decoherence. They deduce that the comet has created 2 split realities, one of which will collapse once the comet has passed. After Beth is falsely accused of lacing their food with a vial of ketamine, they surmise that an area of dense darkness outside will send anyone who passes through it to a different reality's house. The group then realize that Hugh and Amir in their midst came from another house. When the two take the box and leave, they soon return carrying blue glow sticks. They also explain that they found 2 notes at the other house, leading everyone to realize that the split created far more alternate realities than they initially thought.
What?
Whoa.
What? Oh, what?
Speak English, Doc. We ain't scientists.
We ain't scientists. Emily decides to create their own unique box in order to make sure they are all from the same reality. They create the box to
Like the
photograph
other box?
like the other box. They number the pictures. They include a randomly chosen object as well. When checking their numbers with the other house's numbers, Emily notices they differ. After surveying the group, Emily finds that only Lee and Beth, who never left the house, are the originals. Kevin, Lori, everybody else is from a different house. Okay. Hugh and Amir are from a third reality at this point. They go out to make a phone call, and they also find out that Mike is from a fourth house. And he left to blackmail himself because he's a big dummy. The situation then further deteriorates when a note meant to blackmail Mike. Yada yada yada. I'm sorry. I'm boring everybody. There's another Mike that breaks into the house. He attempts to kill his devil. He terrifies the group. Emily leaves the house when Kevin confronts Lori. She looks into several alternate houses at this point. She's sort of like house shopping here. She finds many where the situation is even worse than the house that she just left. She eventually comes across a house in which no one seems aware of the split and where Emily is happy and secure. Outside, Emily smashes the car window to lure everybody out of the house. She then ambushes the house to attack herself, injects her with Beth's ketamine, and when she goes to get the ring out of her car, Emily takes her former self's place. Miller's Comet breaks apart overhead at this time. Emily then faints when she returns to the living room. She wakes up the following day on the sofa. She can't find her double. She starts to worry. Outside, she and Kevin have a nice, loving talk, and he gives her back the ring that she lost. He found it laying on the bathroom floor. Kevin's cell phone then rings, and he notes curiously that the call is coming from Emily's phone. He picks up, and then they stare into each other's eyes very awkwardly. Roll credits. We got two Emilys, one world. That's
Bob,
fucked up.
if you had spent more time studying quantum physics, I bet you could have slimmed that down a bit.
Would have done better. I'm sorry. Goddamn, that was too long. I apologize. Hopefully that made some sense. I don't know. There's a lot of spinning plates here, and I think a lot of this
got so many angles. It's almost just a curve.
Well put,
I feel like the first time you watch this, though, you really are just like trying to keep track of who is who. And the more you find out about the world and the situation, the more you realize you don't fucking know anything. So like you need to like go back and rewatch it if it interests you anyway to like really make sense of it.
I was gonna say need is a strong word.
If you have the mind to do so. If you're a Patton Oswalt.
Well, let me put it this way. Like, I don't know, Rob, if you saw, there was the director of this film put out an explanation video. It's like 5 minutes long. It's on YouTube, and it gives like his little rundown of it, like kind of very briefly, like 5 minutes, like comparatively. But he also has like a full scale rundown that's like several minutes long, where he's interviewed by Patton Oswalt, and they go into detail that you can buy as sort of like a crowdfunding method for his next project. Anyway, but like within that, they talk about
did you watch that
the fan theories? I didn't, but like I could see in the preview there was a lot of discussion about like the fan theories about how this works, and like how like, there's no consensus about this movie, and so like you can dig as deep as you want into it and like try and theorize, but it's like doing that to a David Lynch film. You're not gonna hit the bottom of the well. You're just going to find more well. You're just going, you're never going to hit bedrock there.
I did watch the expanded like explanation / interview with Patton Oswalt.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. So it's on Vimeo, and it's like, I think it's called Coherence.
You
Explained.
stole it, Bob?
No, I paid for it.
Oh damn. Okay.
And so it's like it's a $3 rental, but it does like all the money that you pay towards that goes toward funding his next movie. So if you like this dude's stuff, you're going to get more information about Coherence, and you're also going to help him make his next feature. So it's like, it's kind of a win-win, but it's like 45 minutes long. The first half is the director answering largely fan questions, and then the second half is like a full-on interview with Patton Oswalt sort of like conducting it. It's pretty interesting. And like, I was just trying to write down as much shit as I could like
Oh,
while
my
I was
God,
watching
dude.
it.
my
So yeah,
God,
you can go
Bob.
like full Charlie Kelly from Sunny on this, and like connecting with the yarn string, like pictures and
The
theories
yarn
and shit.
string.
Yarn strings,
Here's the thing,
Mhm.
though. So I did just watch this last night, and as I was watching it, I was trying to do the thing like, okay, oh, these guys, especially the first two guys, these guys aren't from here, and maybe they
Mhm.
killed themselves when they were out. I was kind of creating the idea. So, maybe they killed themselves and infiltrated on purpose or whatever. But as it kept going, and then once they talked about, oh, you go through the black realm, and it was revealed that once they revealed there was three, I was like, this is just going to go on and on and on and on and on. I didn't even think there was three, and then once they're like, there's 5 million, I was like, okay, I kind of gave up that mental game because they kind of tell you to,
Yes,
and
you
then
have to
and
as
then
a method of
yeah,
survival in the film.
and then
To
there's
some
even
extent.
the point where she's, they show her going from house to house to trying to find the reality that best suits her, that she can like slide into. And so at that point, I was like, that kind of actually lost a lot of the kind of appeal for me, because the big thing that this had going for it was that kind of mystery aspect of trying to figure it out. And once that's taken away, once that's just stated to you of like what's actually, they kind of tell you like what's actually happening.
They don't know. So there is a finite number of realities. Like the director does have it mapped out. He never like says what it is, but apparently there's like at the beginning of the movie, there's these things that he calls divergent moments that cause the reality to fracture. And in our like main story, the divergent moment is when her phone cracks, when she's like talking to her boyfriend or whatever, driving down the street, her phone cracks, and that's the first divergence that we see. And then there's like other divergent moments that happen in other timelines, but they happen at different points in time. So like these other houses are going to be either ahead or behind our main house in time when they're trying to figure stuff out.
Like who takes the ketamine?
Yeah.
Yep.
Who's reveals and also
what,
like
who's sleeping, who's awake.
At the beginning of the movie, there's several times where it cuts to black, and it's like a weird, jarring sort of editing choice, but apparently those do have meaning, and a lot of people think like when that happens, there's another divergent moment causing a split. So then like before they leave the house, there's, I don't know, 3 or 4 houses, and then each time they exit, they're transported to one of those other houses. I don't know. You can drive yourself nuts trying to make sense of it, but
See,
there
that's the
is
thing.
apparently some rhyme or reason to it. It's not an infinite number, apparently.
And here's the thing, like I to some extent, like what you say makes sense, Justin. Like to me, the thing that made this work was like you're trying to solve the mystery, and then at a certain point, it sort of collapses on itself. Like it kind of like it by the sheer nature, the broad nature of it, and the limited information you have, it just sort of needs to collapse on itself. And when it does, I feel like that's just another step in the character journey. And to me, that works. Like you're following primarily Emily, and you are like, once at that point, like you start following her around as she starts like window shopping for her reality that she wants to go back to or go to. And like, so at a certain point, it's like the characters are also given up because there's like too much for anybody to figure out, especially while within it. So like to the extent that you can solve the equation of what's happening or whatever, that like loses steam midway, but it gets picked up by the character journey. And for me, that's more interesting anyway. I don't really care to like draw the diagram of what's actually happening in all of this. It doesn't really
I don't either
affect my enjoyment once we get to the end of this film. It's sort of like it's pretty secondary at that point. So I don't actually think even the mystery is that important to me after a certain point. It's what carries you through some of the intrigue, and it gets you to that point. But then you're just basically trying to like, you're following a character who's trying to make lemonade of the situation and who's getting increasingly panicky, making increasingly dire decisions, including drugging herself and all sorts of shit. Like, I don't know.
That's where I'm gonna kind of disagree with you though, because the whole explanation, okay, like, oh, the situation doesn't matter as much anymore. We're not going to draw the diagrams and figure out. So it's about this character journey. But the whole implication of the explanation is that there's so many different versions of the same person, and each one of them are going to do something different. So that takes a lot of the appeal. We see one of the mics comes in and blackmail himself. The other one doesn't. One of the mics comes in and kills himself. One of this girl does this. Sometimes the boyfriend cheats. Sometimes he's loyal. Sometimes he's happy. So it's like,
but I think you're following Alpha Emily the whole time.
Yeah, you are, but it just at that point,
so I think
it becomes diluted in that, like, none of it really matters because there's just another version.
I mean, that's that you just described the entirety of the multiverse in general. Like
nothing matters.
Well, yeah, if everything happens all at once, then like that is literally the premise of everything.
I just meant from a movie and saying like, oh, we're following what these characters do, but the whole implication is what this character doesn't really matter because there's another version of this character right around the corner and another version of this character right around the corner that are all doing different things. So this character isn't even really this character in a finite
but she's
sense.
your
like
point of view character.
The decisions they're making are just one of 100 different decisions where sometimes they're good, sometimes they're bad.
I think
sometimes
it's interesting to
but
watch
she is
these
one
characters
person among those hundreds. And so you are following the one among the hundreds and you're trying to empathize with whatever decision she's making and trying to understand how does a person navigate in a situation where there's 100 versions of you doing all kinds of different things and you want to survive.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, these people are real people. I mean, they might be copies of themselves doing slightly different things, but it's interesting to watch them navigate the situation and try and like put yourself in their place and figure out what would you do. Like specifically the character of Emily is the most interesting to watch in this situation because it's very clearly discussed in an awkward manner at the dinner table that she sort of quote lost her life. She gave it away to another ballerina. She created this great piece and like didn't want to play understudy, so gave it up, and then the understudy ended up being the lead and then was very famous, and she kind of fucked up by not taking the understudy. So when presented this situation where she's quite literally shopping for her new life, she is willing to fucking murk herself so that she takes the life that she quote deserves or wants. It's interesting to think like, would you be willing to hurt yourself so that you can live the life that you want? That's the most interesting aspect of the movie to me. I mean, you can get in the weeds with like the sci-fi multiverse stuff if you want, and I think that's cool too. But the most interesting thing is this character of Emily like choosing a life for herself. And like, would you be able to do that?
See, and that's the thing I wanted to bring up because specifically, like that whole thing is predicated on this idea, like the way that these people act, I don't think is how I would act at all. Nobody acts the way that I would personally act.
I would sit my ass on the couch.
Yeah, same.
No, not me.
With a knife.
Well, once I figured things out, then I'd probably been like, okay, you know what? I just got to protect myself here, and that's that. And if I see myself, I'm like, whatever. But at the beginning of the night, where you like they're starting to piece things together, and they're not sure the breadth of these things, and they see each other across the way. If I'm like, is Andy over there? Like, I would talk to myself and like, look, if we're in from different fucking multiverses or whatever, we have the same goal, which is to not collapse the universe and end up in our respective universes. So let's work together and try and figure shit out. Like, I don't have any problem with that.
I'm not trusting Soju.
See, that's the thing. Everybody's like ready to kill themselves like instantly, and I'm like, why? Like, you have the same goal. Why would you want to that's like adding an agent of chaos to a situation that's already well chaotic.
Well, they like figure out the rules after they've already fucked up and left their timeline for the most part.
And I also understand a panic move. I understand that too.
So they're playing catch up in a way where you're already not living the life that you were living. And you're like, fuck me. Like, what do I do from here? Do I go back into the blackness and spin the roulette wheel, so to speak, and see where I end up? Do I end up back home? Do I end up somewhere else? Do I create another reality by doing that? It's fucking.
That's the interesting thing to show, which is why they have Emily do that. That's the interesting solution. And like having her, like you said, shop around. I think that's Like it would be like it's not a fun movie if we just like figure it out and sit
Sure,
on the
yeah.
couch, you know, like
But seriously though,
but if you could
anytime
have
that
a
shit's
horde of
going
yourself
down,
trying
I'm
to kill
like,
you or some shit, like if there's a battle of yous out front and you're like, oh shit, like don't come in here, like that's interesting too. But this
yeah,
movie
that
was
is.
made on such a shoestring budget intentionally that I think that they did a fucking fabulous job of showing a very interesting method of resolving this plot line without having to use body doubles or anything crazy like that, and using basically one location for the entire film.
Now, yeah, so as a film, when she's shopping around and she sees the version where it's obviously gotten like way out of hand and they've like tied a couple people up and stuff, I was like, honestly, that should have been the movie. Because while this movie was somewhat entertaining when I was trying to follow the mystery of it all, not a lot happens. Like I don't find a lot of these characters particularly interesting or engaging to follow or listen to them talk. They're not particularly distinct, and the realities that we explore aren't particularly distinct. And what this movie has going for it in its initial viewing is the mystery and the kind of creepiness around the situation, but it loses a little bit of that when they're just strolling and they see each other with the red glow sticks and they're like, oh, it's the same motherfuckers, and then you just get back to the house and it's just these people, they're just regular people, you know, that just want to drink some wine and want to do these things, and I'm like, that's I don't know, I just didn't find that particularly interesting.
Yeah, I'm gonna like slightly disagree because I think that like what they're doing, what they're showing, like the subtle differences, like there's at least now, I mean, not at the time this movie came out, but we are lousy with multiverse films at this point, especially with Marvel really picking up steam in that department, and we're gonna reach critical mass real quick, I think. But for the time or whatever, I feel like I welcomed a movie that showed that the multiverse theory in subtle, innocuous, almost unimportant divergences, and having them be so similar that you could just slide right into another reality as yourself, and people do without even fucking knowing it. I think that's pretty
slide into your reality.
That is interesting to a point, but to base a whole movie around it, I'm like, I've seen the Community episode, okay? I know how
okay. I think
that's all you want. All this was.
I know what happens when they go get the pizza, okay?
I do think the characters could be more distinctive and themselves, though. Bob,
I do agree. I agree with your point overall, and I think that might have something to do with like the way this movie was crafted, which I think is really interesting. It's almost like a cool experiment the way this movie was filmed. So it was shot at the director's house over the course of 5 nights, and all the characters were given it does. They were all provided like character cards, and like each night on the card it would have a motivation for them, and they wouldn't know what each other's motivations were, and there was no script. It was all improv based on what these characters were trying to achieve.
Curb Your Enthusiasm did.
That's pretty cool. I like that.
So I think they might,
and it kind of shows. They feel very natural.
They do.
Like, they talk over each other like we are, and like most people do in conversations with groups.
Shut up, Randy. I don't.
It's like I think it's for better and for worse. I think it's a really cool way to craft a movie, but obviously the dialogue and the characters could have been dialed in much more tightly if they just had a full script that they like revised several times. You know, so it's like. It's kind of a yin and a yang for me. I dig it and I don't at the same time, I think.
Yeah, for entertainment value, I really would like to see more happen. Especially because some of the craft of this film too, apart from just what we see, is I wasn't a big fan of the camera work, the shaky cam and stuff. It really, and because a lot of shots are out in the dark when they're going out to their cars, when they're walking around in the dark. I was like, this is bothering me to watch this.
I don't know if they do or not, but it feels like there's some disorientation that may or may not be attributable to like crossing the 180 rule or whatever. So like swapping, like the angle at which they shoot the house, like I'm sure they're doing it just to keep the shots fresh or whatever, but it also adds just more confusion there. Whereas like if you had like a found footage film where you had like one or two cameras that are shaky cam, maybe one in a corner somewhere, and that's what you're cutting between, then that makes it actually more manageable to watch shaky cam. But because these are shaky cams that are omniscient, they can be anywhere. They can change to any shot anywhere at any time, and they do. So I don't know. I agree with that part for sure. Is that's a little bit. It's a little bit hard to keep your bearings even within just the house.
And also too, I mean, I understand from the craft standpoint how you have to make this make sense, but there were some things that they really anchored themselves to in order for the audience to follow. So again, I'm understanding, but from a logical standpoint, it's kind of dumb because, for instance, the glow stick thing, there's 3 different color glow sticks, and that's a divergent moment and what you choose. And then, but at one point, some people come in, Amir and the guy come back, and they're like, no, see, we took their glow sticks. So look, we've got red and blue. And look, that box of red hasn't even been opened. I was like, that wouldn't prove shit. If you've been to any other house, every house has 3 boxes of glow sticks. You just take it from that box. I was like, so there were some things where people were trying to like argue their logic. And I was like, this is dumb.
No. Well, that I don't know. Like I like that about it, because to me that shows the devolution into chaos that is the movie. Like,
but nobody
like
else picks up on that.
Well, no, and that's fair, I guess.
It doesn't lead to
nobody
any
is calm
questioning.
enough.
Yeah, it doesn't lead to anybody's.
Does. Like,
not
it does,
in that
like
situation.
all of it. Like the thing is, like, it's compounding issues with even the safeguards they put on them. So they try and solve things logically, but logic fails them over and over and over again. And that's just one example of that. And by the time you are like, people are suddenly realizing, oh shit, I'm not even in my regular universe right now. Like, I need to figure out, like, our main point of view character is suddenly, it's like, okay, fuck figuring this out. Let's survive. And you're surviving with your primary character. And that I think it's all leading to that revelation for both audience and protagonist is reaching that moment. So to me, the idea that like, oh no, this thing that we developed to try and like keep things straight isn't helping as much as we thought it would, because there's inherent flaws in it, because this is an unknowable situation, that just works to the benefit of the movie to me.
That I will say, so since I've been knocking on this film, that was that moment where she reveals to herself that she's not where she's supposed to be, and how easy it was for her to get switched. The audience knows, oh, she went out to her car, that was a switch moment. But then also like, oh, ours was a ping pong paddle, ours was a coaster, ours was an oven mitt, ours was a stapler, and so that's a good moment where you go like, oh
no.
But then also,
this is already too fucked up.
Yeah, the double-edged sword for me then. So in that moment of experience of ride, like a roller coaster, like, oh, I just dipped on the roller coaster, oh, my stomach kind of, but now I'm just like cruising and I'm like, oh, okay. So that kind of took away some of the importance of what I thought about other things, like, like the characters and stuff. So I'm like, you could just go to one of like any kind of reality, and sometimes they're tying people up, sometimes they're just fucking chilling on the couch drinking some wine. So it's like, nothing, like there's no characters anymore. Mike can be one of 100 different good guys or pieces of shit, and then like the boyfriend can be one of 100 of like, oh, he's cheating on her, he's not cheating on her, he's a good dude. He's like,
I think it narrows itself down, like where you do, as the movie starts, you're not quite sure like who you're supposed to attach yourself to, like who the protagonist is. But like as the movie narrows itself down, I think it becomes more and more clear that Emily is the person that's pulling you through this story. And like, yeah, you do start. That's true. But I think it like just becomes more and more apparent that like that's who you're following through the story, or at least that's how I felt when I was watching.
And I guess we're hitting the same point as before, but for me, the idea that like, okay, you want to everybody is trying to preserve not just who they are, because it's not just self-preservation, it's preservation of the reality that you know, because you're terrified of breaking into another reality by accident or whatever else. So it's like everybody's trying to logically figure these things out, and then slowly you realize that it's already broken. The eggs are already broken, the milk's already spilled, and it's look out for number one now, because you're right. Like, if I'm Emily in this situation, I know that I want to survive. I know that I am me. I could be in a billion different universes, but I have to survive because I am me, and that's my drive to survive. And so you're following her and doing that, but there could be a shitty Mike, there could be great Mike, there could be Kevin who sucks, and there could be like her boyfriend Kevin could be fucking the overtly sexual woman in the back room right now. Like, none of those things, like, to her position, none of those things matter. But because you are invited to participate from her position, for me, it works, because it's like, okay, everything is broken right now. How do I survive in a situation that's broken?
Would y'all prefer to exist in a reality that is worse than the one you started in, or would you rather murk yourself to exist in a better reality?
So here's the question I had too, is like, she's like, I'm gonna kill myself. I would be like, what happens if I just stroll in? Like, hey, guy.
Real Emily.
Exactly. Like, that's my feeling.
Hey, guy.
Like, if you're going to interact with the other people, including yourself, just be like, hey, let's work together. Everything's broken, but you and I both individually have a desire to survive this. And like, I at least I would trust myself not to try and do what Emily did and try and game the system for the most optimal. Like, I wouldn't go window shopping for a reality. I would want to stay in my reality, and if that fails, I would try and stay put wherever is not dangerous for me to be.
Well, I understand the mode. Oh, go ahead.
You could rock the three-way, situation
with yourself.
I mean, I guess.
Well, I mean, that's the ultimate masturbatory fantasy.
It's an option.
That's not on my list, but but I was thinking, I understand the motivation. So the reality she left, okay, what just happened was Mike came in and killed him, like killed himself in another reality. So okay, if she stayed in this reality, she's now in a reality where her friend Mike is dead, and her friend Beth's husband, or whatever the woman's name is, Mike, is dead. And so of course, that sucks. That's a bad reality. Apart from a boyfriend's cheating or anything, it's like your friend is dead, and your friend's widow is now devastated and whatever. So that's a pretty good choice to make, as opposed to like everyone's evil and out to get you, because eventually this thing's gonna break up and you're just gonna be left with what's around. So but that's why I was like, okay, I was intrigued by the idea that they had some other people tied up, and I was like, is that their people? Are they not trusting their own people, or did they catch doubles, and they got their doubles tied up, and what happens when it breaks up?
It was I think in that scene it was two mics tied to two chairs.
Okay.
So I think it was
was it? I did not catch that.
And there was another very brief moment where I think it was Mike again on the table, like dead, and it almost looked like they had candles lit, like a seance situation.
Oh, God.
It's like there's some like weird shit going on in some of these other realities.
And that's the thing, is like here's the thing that like kind of like that kind of dampens my spirit on the thing a little bit, because I've said, like the way that I would proceed in this would be a much more amicable. And the thing is, like, almost all of the action, or almost all of the problems in this movie can be resolved by not panicking and not fucking freaking out and trying to kill each other or anything like that. Just staying calm, trying to make sense of it, and failing that, just staying the fuck put and not allowing yourself to get murked yourself. Like, just be like, people are their own agents of chaos here. Everybody's making panic moves left and right. Just sit down and let it pass if it's going to pass. And if it's not, then you have a whole fuck ton of other problems to deal with.
Well, so that's not necessarily true. And Mike kind of proves that, because the one version where they're just like chilling at the table and Mike just bursts into the front door and kills himself real quick. So
Right.
even, and even the reality we
protect for
finally
that, yes.
end at, they're all happy and blissfully unaware, and still one of them gets killed.
Everybody
No,
in every reality would have to do that for everybody to be
exactly.
saved.
Yeah.
Right. And you're right, but also if you are competent enough to see that might happen,
sure, yeah,
especially after you've reached a point where like, okay, I'm not in my original reality now, I'm just going to settle in here, we're all still the same people, just divergent from each other a little bit. We can still have the same relationships, everything else is nothing else is like interpersonally broken here. Let's just protect ourselves from intruders, and if an intruder comes in, let's like fucking either fight them off or reason with them in whatever way we can based on that situation. It's a matter of surviving. And you don't like somebody said in the movie, like if you get lost, you don't go wandering around trying to find base camp.
Yeah.
You stay put until the people looking for you can find you, and vice versa. Like, so to me, it just seems like cooler heads did not prevail here, and not without reason. It's a fucked up situation, and it like panic moves are to be expected, which is why you don't assume that every other reality is going to face things that way. You go forth assuming this is how we're going to survive, and if people try and disrupt that, we'll deal with that as it comes. But for now, sit back to back with knives in your hands and get ready for the apocalypse.
That's what I'm doing. Not only that, you're in a 2-story house. I always say, you go to the second floor, everybody gets a weapon, you go into one bedroom, you lock it, you stay there. Not even the living room where somebody can creep in or whatever. You go to the second floor with one fucking door.
That's a classic horror movie mistake. Running up the stairs so that you're fucked. If somebody kicks in the door, you're cornered.
They have to face
not
7
even
or 8
people are in the room.
Yeah.
That are your friends.
I mean, what if the other 7 people come out and decide to fuck you up? Like, I don't know. Yeah. Crazy.
I mean, that's the thing you have to safeguard against by being calm. Rational and not letting that douchebag alcoholic drink his way into trying to kill himself.
All 8 people from the other house come into your house and like knock on your doors, and it's a one-on-one. Everybody's fighting themselves. Who knows? I don't know.
Why would they do that if they must have left a similar house?
Could you beat yourself?
I don't know.
I don't know, man. And that's the thing. It's like, I think it's like a really interesting idea to have like legions of yourself and your friends trying to attack your one house. But that does not make sense for any of those other people. That just makes sense for a protagonist versus a specific kind of multiverse themed challenge.
Maybe I can tag up with all the juices and we could like take over the world or something.
That's what I'm saying, man.
Hey, Juice, you out there? Yeah. Hey,
the juice
let's
now.
squat up. Fuck these bishops.
Hey, big dog, you want to have an orgy of just us? Yeah.
That's Rob's fantasy, apparently. That keeps
Rob would
coming
die
up.
There'd just be a pile of dehydrated dead Robs at the end of the night.
We don't have to worry. We don't have to worry about the Robs. They're over here banging.
Yeah, they're
just banging.
New one pops in, just starts humping and dies.
Randy's gonna be easy to take out. He's too peaceful. Okay, yeah, good. All right.
One's too peaceful, the other's too horny. We got this.
We got this.
You need your front face for the cabal, Juice. Come on, give Randy his due.
The Juice cult reigns supreme, I guess. I don't know. Don't invite Juice to your dinner party. You're fucked.
That's increasingly every time there's a dinner party themed horror film. Justin really
I'm gonna come out on top. If I come to a dinner party and
a dinner party
sideways,
is a zero-sum game for Juice.
So
I'm here to win dinner party.
When the invitation comes, the invitation comes my way, just be aware that if shit goes sideways, I will come out on top. So
Juice will poison you with a vial of ketamine. Okay,
Justin hears a knock at the door that says police and just leaps out a window at any dinner party.
Dude, that's some true life shit. I've seen similar things happen.
Dude, I gotta preserve myself, you know.
I think
ever done ketamine?
No, not to my knowledge.
You wanna?
I don't know what that is really. I don't even know what that shit is.
It apparently is legit a horse tranquilizer.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
So probably don't put it in your body. we
That's fine.
A little.
Hey, I hear it cures COVID.
Everything does, right?
You know, let's just go
Whatever you
ahead and
want.
outright say that yes, cures COVID.
Also, you can buy our Straight Chilling COVID ketamine on Patreon right now. It's a brand new
COVID.
tier. It'll cure whatever.
Miracle COVID ketamine.
We are now
COVID
selling
ketamine.
vitamins and health
They make you
supplements.
smart and real virile.
They
and,
make your
they're
dick real big.
$69.
Yeah.
Make your dick.
You'll
Your
be
dick and
you'll be
your brain will
diamond hard
explode
for
inside.
fucking hours.
You'll come out on top of any dinner party you go to. I guarantee it. That's
You
Yeah,
want
you
to
win
top the dinner party?
that's the
Straight
soju
chilling.
guarantee.
COVID
Straight
ketamine
Chilling's Guide
pills.
to Winning Dinner Parties. That's our new book. It's coming out this fall.
How to win dinner parties and lose friends. by Straight Chilling.
How to
Who
lose
needs
friends, and
friends when
alienate
you're
people.
when you're winning
There you
dinner
go.
parties?
Yeah. That's a movie, isn't it? I think it is.
I'm pretty sure, yeah. Did you guys know that the filmmaker, when they were making this movie in his house, his wife was 9 months pregnant, and after they wrapped shooting, like literally 2 hours after they wrapped, she went into labor
Holy
and
shit!
gave birth in their house.
Only in one universe.
In the house?
So who
In
gives a
one
shit?
single universe. Yeah, they were planning on a home birth anyways, but it was
Oh,
like they
wow.
barely finished this movie.
Man,
Yeah.
they would have had to shoot around the blood if she had come a day early.
Yeah.
Randy.
A delight to the senses, isn't it, my friend?
As soon as it hits your lips. Yeah.
As soon as it hits your lips,
Yeah.
Rob is, y'all always
Taking
give
it
me a
there.
hard time. Rob's talking about banging himself and eating terrible things.
I was just asking questions.
I think.
oh
Bob's
yeah, the Just
cooter.
Asking Questions guy is logged on. What if this house just started flying, dog?
What if all myself
if-
just started banging, dog? Wouldn't that be cool?
What then?
That'd be cool,
What
you know?
then?
Can't call it cheating.
I mean, I'm just pondering over, you know.
It's just masturbation, really. That's fine.
I would hate to have a window to Bob's brain while he's watching Back to the Future. I would hate that. Oh yeah, that's how I could do it. Oh
That's
yeah.
how I can
That's
Where's
how I
that
get.
flux capacitor?
I'm about to flux.
Oh god.
Oh, let's
boys,
move
I don't know.
forward.
Yeah. Any other? I know we could like go on and on about this. Any other major things you want to touch on though before we rate this?
I'm okay.
No.
Silence. Okay.
Oh, there was a funny kind of I like the aspect of that guy being like, yeah, I'm an actor. I was in Roswell. It was weird that he picked Roswell though, because he was actually in Buffy and not in Roswell at all. And I was
Yeah.
like, why didn't he
I
just
think
say
that was maybe an in joke.
It was a joke. Yeah.
okay?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Maybe not
That scene was
funny.
so fucking uncomfortable.
It
It's-
Yeah,
was.
that was an
Dude,
awkward
that
scene.
that one hyper horny dinner guest is like,
Yeah.
just take her away. I don't know.
Also,
Get outta
fuck
here.
Amir, dude. Who
Yeah.
would, who
Yeah.
would, yeah. Like,
Time and time again, date your buddy's ex and then bring them to the dinner party.
yeah,
where your
bringing
buddy's
them
at,
to
like,
the dinner party. Also,
yeah.
if I was the person throwing the dinner party, I'd be like, Amir, no, you
Don't-
can't come.
don't do that.
What?
Yeah.
No.
Yep.
If I was throwing a dinner party and one of our friends was like, I'm bringing Rob's ex, I'd be like, no, fuck you. You're go away
No,
then.
you're not.
Yeah.
No ketamine
you're not
for you.
coming. Yeah, you're not coming then. Go away.
Only my friends can do ketamine.
What
with me.
terrible
This-
friends these people are.
Yeah.
No, that's
Yeah.
that's part of it too. Is
That is
actually that
part of
like
it.
most of the people in this film are just bad people. Like just see, like at least based on the information. we
That's
have.
fair, yeah.
Like
Or-
people,
yeah.
you know, yeah. Like there's a lot of
They're
like interpersonal
assholes.
drama that's just like based on one or multiple people being huge pricks for no
Yeah.
reason.
Yeah. Generally unfaithful or just like doing shitty things to each other. For sure.
Yep.
Plays into it. Yeah, let's go ahead and rate this thing. Anything else you guys want to mention, feel free to, of course. Out of 5, Juice, how do you feel about Coherence?
This movie was all right. I generally enjoyed the ride. The more I thought about it, and I liked it less and less. But the more I kind of learned about it, picked me back up a little bit because I do really respect that way of filmmaking. That's cool. You know, it's unique. I don't necessarily think it's made the best product, but I really respect that homemade kind of feel. You know, in my house, my friend or people, here's some cards I made. That's really interesting and unique. And for that, he came out with a pretty solid movie. But for an entertaining aspect, a long-lasting value, it's not really there for me. Once the mystery was kind of gone, I have zero intrigue to watch this again and again and again and to think like, oh, where's this split and what's this little detail? Nothing about this movie gives that to me. I don't care about anyone in this film enough to want to do that. There's no like kind of major consequence that makes me want to do that. And ultimately, the once the mystery's gone, this movie's kind of boring. These people aren't that interesting or distinct, or I don't just there's not a whole lot going on in this world where they're supposed to be, you know, a ton of different versions of you. And they try to set it up at first with this spooky, wow, who's outside, knocks on the doors and stuff like that. But that kind of falls away pretty quick once you know, kind of what the deal is. So I don't know. I didn't feel super attached to any of these people and not even super attached to any of these theoretical ideas. You know, I guess it is kind of interesting to think like, would you kill yourself to replace yourself in a better thing? But I kind of like Andy, not necessarily like but yeah, there's never a situation where they're just like, hey guy, what's up? You are me. We're chill, right? Yep. Okay, well, let's do something. I mean, that does seem like kind of the more logical thing than just busting in and killing myself. You know, I like myself well enough to just be at least try to say like, hey guy, what's going on? You know,
Can I reason with myself?
Yeah. So
you want to bang?
Yeah, but I mean, I get that just doesn't make an interesting movie. But I just think there's too many threads that you could pull in this that make it kind of fall apart or make the logic not super strong, or I don't know. Again, the camera work, I didn't like that either. I was like really bothered by just watching this movie. I was like, God damn, I don't like this kind of style of filmmaking. Or these I don't know, I just didn't like it. It was bothering me, the dark shots and stuff like that. So overall, I'll give it like a 2.5. You know, I thought it was a pretty solid ride. I don't really want to watch it again. But there's some cool aspects to it, just like nothing crazy. Bob, out of 5, where are you gonna land?
Yeah, I'm a little warmer on this than you are. I agree with you. Like the shaky cam, like really kind of bothered me as I was watching this. But knowing that nothing was scripted means that like none of the shots were necessarily like blocked out. So the actors were improvising their lines, but also like moving throughout the house like at their own free will. So like the camera operator didn't know where they were going to go, you know, so she was just kind of like moving with them. And it sort of helps explain why it might not be perfect, you know, but it is a little distracting. I totally agree with you there. I think it's a really cool like experiment. And I think overall it turned out really well. I can't imagine how hard it would be to film a movie in 5 nights with basically no crew and no script and have it be as successful as this movie is. Some of the weird camera angles I know were also just product of them shooting in a house, like in a real house. Like it wasn't, you know, built on a stage where you could like remove a wall if you needed to, if it was in the way. It just is what it is. And you got to do what you got to do. And you don't have people like holding lights. Like you got to use, you know, flashlights in certain scenes or like lamps and just make it look as best as you can. I think they did a really good job with what they had overall. The performances are like decent. I don't think anybody's really blowing me away here. I don't think anybody's phoning it in either. I think they're doing the best they can with these like motivations and character cards that they have. But I'm not like balled over by any specific performance necessarily. I think it's a really interesting like thought experiment. and like learning a little bit about like coherence and like quantum decoherence and what that means. They talk about it a little bit in the movie, enough to like sort of clue you in as to what they're experiencing. I think it's cool to learn about that and like hypothesize what is happening as you're watching this movie unfold in real time. And Emily's character sort of wrapping it up in the end, I think really does drive the point of it home, and the intrigue, I think, really pulls me through it, where the movie might lack in its sort of more finer technical points and performances. I've seen it a couple times, which I think is enough. I don't know that I need to watch it over and over again and become obsessive with it, but I think you can do that if you want to, and a lot of people obviously have. I think this dude made a great movie, and I will definitely watch his next one. Hopefully he gets the money to make it. I'm going to come in with a 3 out of 5 on Coherence. Randu, how do you feel?
Yeah, I think I'm even a little more warm than you are towards this film. So like, to speak to some of the negatives, yeah, I think I agree about the camera work. It's just a little bit disorienting in a movie that's kind of built on disorienting you. You kind of need to have something pretty stalwart to keep you grounded in something. And I think that this movie could have done with a little more grounding in that regard. I don't know. I think that like the characters are largely like most of them are pretty unlikable, but the one that we're supposed to like and empathize the most with is perfectly fine, and like not incredibly, like none of them are incredibly distinctive, but that's a byproduct of like improvising lines and doing this in a 5-day shoot or whatever to some extent. So I can definitely look past it. And beyond that, like before I even knew that though, I felt like I was the strength of this movie is that they're not necessarily likable characters, but they are believable characters. And if it wasn't that, and that is because of the way that they improvised everything. So like all that shortcoming also becomes a benefit, because that reality is what allows me to enter every new revelation with the attitude of, oh shit, what would I do now? Like what would be my next move here? And that's the journey that I go on with this movie on the rewatches. I don't watch it again to like learn more about the lore. I forget things every time I watch and I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. And like, you know, that's not like, that was what it was intriguing the first time, but that has diminishing returns. The whole movie really has diminishing returns on multiple viewings, on several viewings anyway. I've hit 3 or 4 at this point, and I'm not in a hurry to watch it a 5th time. But you know, like the thing that that keeps me from being ultimately like, I can't watch this again, is that I do like the thought exercise of seeing these realistic people get these mind-bending, chaotic revelations and seeing how they react, seeing how they overreact and overcorrect and then fuck up, and then inevitably how that leads to the most chaotic thing of all, which is the person that we've been entreated to follow suddenly doing things that you would not have seen her as being capable of at the beginning of this film, and ultimately losing the reservation because of that and becoming a body double in her own new universe. So I don't know. I think there's some rewatch value here, but it diminishes. I think that the lore is interesting and very cool, like, and well thought out. It seems to me, well thought out concept, and I like the way that they accomplished it. I'm very impressed with how the movie was made, but it has its like drawbacks. Some of those things show, and some of them, while like making the characters realistic, does not necessarily make them more enjoyable to watch. So it has a pro and con thing going on here for me. But ultimately, overall, it's very pro for me. I think it's an achievement, this movie, honestly, based on the conditions of its creation. I think it deserves a lot of applause, in the same way that like Host did, except this one is even more thinking going on behind it. So to me, I think it's a 3.5. For its shortcomings, I'll knock off a few, but and for it being a little bit less than enjoyable at times, I think it services the movie, but it doesn't necessarily service my enjoyment to have some of those things in there.
All right. That's going to put our aggregate at a 3. We do have an email from our boy Dongster Sam, who chose this movie for us to review. Juice, do you have that pulled up?
I do. Ready?
Yeah, roll it.
What's up, nerds? It's your favorite Dong Sam. I hope y'all enjoyed watching Coherence this week. I absolutely love this movie. Its rewatch value is very high for me. You can watch it over and over again and find new things you missed each time. It's also one of those movies that's fun to show somebody for the first time and watch their reaction. Some of my favorite scenes are when Hugh's note is left on the door and when they see their other selves with the red glow sticks. I legit thought they were going to start killing each other. It always has me sitting on the edge of my seat. This movie gives me goosebumps every time I watch it. I also like the fact that most of the movie is improvised with no script. Also, when Mike says, Hugh, do you not understand what I'm saying? This all started tonight, and if there are a million different realities, I have slept with your wife in every one of them. I find that shit hilarious. That was a good line, yeah.
Oh man, what a prick.
We'll get into it for Cooter of the Week, but if somebody is asking for a movie recommendation and they haven't seen Coherence, I always recommend it. It's a 5-star movie for me. Also, I know we've been talking about the Slack recently, and I just want to say it's a lot of fun. Come join the sex cult. I'm not improvising that. All right, dong out. Hashtag hard with soju. You're my favorite host. You kick so much.
Okay, you're
not
making
improvising. Definitely not improvising.
But
just
the
all that goodwill drained.
The sex cult was in there.
It was.
How can we believe anything you say? Cool. Thanks, Dongster.
Yeah, man. Thanks for picking this flick. It's definitely an interesting ass movie to watch and think about, and obviously talk about. I really enjoyed pondering it this week and talking about it with you boys. So yeah, man.
Thanks for a solid pick.
Yeah, appreciate that.
For sure.
Randu, it's time to get into our Rotten Tomatoes segment. Let's see what the critics and users think.
Hell yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Certified.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Rotten Tomatoes segment in which I'm going to have these two gentlemen guess within the best of their abilities what the aggregate positive score is on RottenTomatoes.com. And that's for both critics and users, starting, as we always do, with the critics. I'm going to start with Juice today. There are 91 reviews for this film in the critics category.
Okay.
Where do you think the aggregate positive score lies?
That's pretty solid. I don't know. I think it's gonna be positive. I'll go 75.
75. Okay. Bob, how about you?
Yeah, I think it's gonna be largely positive here too. 75 is a good bet. I'll go a little high on that. 70. I'll $1 up with a 76.
Oh, Bob.
1776. I don't want this whole bit to devolve into just $1 every time, guys.
Yeah,
Crazy,
you're right. Yeah,
right?
you're right. You know what? 80. Fuck
80. All right. Now we're talking. That's a 5-point difference. And that is going to get you even closer to correct, Bob. You are the winner here. It's 88%.
Fuck yeah.
Whoa.
That's a certified fresh.
Yeah.
There's a lot of... Okay. All right. I think you're maybe getting off on this. That's a little too much.
Oh, yeah.
Bob's thinking about banging himself.
What, you didn't get off?
Ooh, drum for me.
Let me get that rim shot.
Oh God. Okay, we're moving on. This is the audience score portion of the Rotten
Bob
Tomatoes.
a lot more shit than we do.
You really don't, but
well, yeah, I mean, opinions vary. There are over 5,000 audience ratings for this film, so a significantly larger share. Bob, why don't you start us off? Where do you think the audience is going to net out here?
And I think the audience is going to be a little lower. This is not, I don't think this is like necessarily a crowd pleaser. I mean, I don't know. I'll go 73.
73. All right. Juice, how about you? Where do you think the users are going to go?
This is tough. The oozers.
Bear in
I
mind,
don't
there's
know.
not a single Vin Diesel in this movie.
I
so
know.
you already lose,
I
like,
want to stay
so
closer
much
to
of the
my
audience.
general kind of opinion, so I'm gonna take the 69 dudes.
Oh my God, 69 dudes, 69 of you.
Oh yeah,
69
soju dudes.
Oh my God, I can't find the bump fast enough, but trust that I would have played it. It
I
is
trust that you
gonna
would have
be
in a better reality, Randy.
yeah. In another reality, I hit that so fucking spot on, dude. Rest assured,
There's a Randy reality out there where he is just quick on the bombs.
dude. Not this one.
I don't believe it. I don't believe it.
So, Bob, my buddy, you got a sweep this week. This is
Oh.
81%.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
81%.
Oh yeah.
Brad's a wrestler now.
The cream rises.
The cream does rise.
Mm.
The cream also rises. The critics' consensus for this film reads as follows: a case study in less is more filmmaking. Coherence serves a compelling, low-budget calling card for debuting writer-director James Ward Birkitt. So that seems pretty fair.
Okay.
Yeah.
Seems pretty good. Pretty good. Let's look at a negative review and see if it has any humor in it or if it's just dumb and wrong. Coherence is a debut of tremendous ambition and potential, yet sadly, despite some genuine moments of tension, the film ironically makes too many wrong turns and its convoluted themes fail to coalesce on a human level. Okay, I guess
that's just kind of
Dumb and wrong.
that's kind of, that he's not wrong enough to be made
Just
fun of, and he's
dumb.
not right enough to be right. So yay, Rotten Tomato segment
right
is now
enough
done.
to be right. All right. Well, I guess it's totally time for trivia.
It's totally time for trivia.
Gentle Mangs.
Bob, is there a lot of trivia on this one?
Yeah, I tried to sprinkle some in throughout. I got a few more that I can hit on here. So the actor that plays Amir, dude by the name of Alex Manigian. Sorry if I mispronounced that. He's also the co-writer of this movie. He was essentially the mole who was planted in this movie that would help sort of guide scenes, like if the actors were getting off track and they weren't like out working towards the goal of that scene, he would try and like correct them.
That's interesting.
So yeah, it's kind of like a bit of insurance, I guess. You got one guy in there that kind of knows how things are supposed to play out, and he's supposed to help. Interestingly enough, there was one 45-minute standoff that happened on set. So like when Hugh and Amir first leave the house, and then they come back and they've got like bandages on their face with the lockbox.
Yeah.
The people in the house when they were filming would not let them back inside. And they had a standoff for 45 minutes, and eventually the director had to like intervene and be like, "Okay, they have to come back inside for the movie to continue."
Okay.
So, like he did have
45 minutes they allowed that. That's interesting.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that seems like a long ass time, but he did have to sort of intervene on occasion, I guess, to make sure things played out the way they were supposed to.
It occurs to me that the way they filmed this movie was not that different from like the murder mystery dinner parties that we've participated in.
Yeah. I mean, that's what it made me think of when Bob said they
Yeah.
all got cards and motivations. I mean, that's pretty much
Yeah.
it.
It's like, I don't know why I didn't think of that, but that's more or less what's happening here, but with professional actors, and fascinating way to do it.
Yeah. The director first met actor Lauren Mayer, who plays Laurie, while working on the set of Pirates of the Caribbean: Curse of the Black Pearl. She played Scarlett, who was a wench in the movie who slaps Johnny Depp, apparently. So there you go.
Wow, living the dream.
Living the dream. So there were at least 5 sets of Hugh and Amir's in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah.
So we've got the original sets. There's also the guys that return with the box that I just described with the bandages on their faces.
Yeah.
Whenever M, Kevin, Mike, and Laurie leave, they come back to a new house and experience a third set of Hugh and Amir's. That third set then sneak out the back door, and then a fourth set come in with both red and blue glow sticks. And they're from the Stapler house. And then there's a fifth set that Emily encounters whenever she lands at her final home at the end of the movie after she's done shopping around. So there's at least 5 sets of human mirrors, which sort of like maybe one way you could watch this movie to anchor yourself to not just Emily, but like sort of as they cycle in and out, help keep you in place. There's also a Snickers commercial being filmed on the same street while they were filming this movie. They had horses on the street, like giant lights, like hundreds of people in the street. Well, the director was like trying to film his cast of 8 people. Yeah, supposed to be dark, and they had to like keep reminding the Snickers crew to be fucking quiet so they could get their shots in because they only had the 5 nights to work with.
That's
wild. Hey, Mr. Snicker, could you shut the fuck up?
Get off of my street. I'm calling my.
I fucking live here.
Just walk out with a bathrobe and start screaming, baby. That's the way to go.
Start screaming. Just send your extremely pregnant wife over, and they'll do whatever you want.
Just say start blasting, you know. Get my pieces and started blasting.
Just start blasting. This is the last bit of trivia I have here. I don't know if this is true. This sounds kind of strange to me. Some scenes were reshot 6 months after the fact. The character of Lee changed her hair during this time, so they had to buy a wig for her that cost $8,000.
Good God!
What?
Yeah, which, as we've already discussed, the entire budget of the film was $50,000. So, like, they couldn't find a cheaper wig. I don't know. It seems like a
thing is, I don't know, dude. There's like screen-ready wigs can get pretty expensive for sure. Yeah. I don't know why they. I mean, and I guess the reasoning is that a cheap wig looks like a cheap wig. So
I guess, I guess.
I mean,
but like $8,000.
That's a lot of fucking money.
That's a lot.
Like, no question.
You couldn't find a really good one for $80,000. Like, I don't know.
Apparently not.
I'll make you.
I don't know what the wig rates are.
$50.
Yeah. To be fair, I don't know shit about wigs.
It's gonna be all pubes.
Man.
I've seen Jackass. I know how to make a wig. You shave your pubes.
I'm gonna.
And they're just gonna be glued to a bald cap.
It's a merkin for your dome. Here you go.
That's a dome merkin, and you end up looking like Fred Savage's little brother.
I want to shoot a movie just so I can make a pube wig now.
My buddy. You don't need a movie to make pube wigs. You can just go to a little place called Etsy.com.
Yeah, they'll take your $50.
They will.
Who wants to buy Soju's pube wig on straightchillin.com?
Actually, you might have to go to Craigslist Personals for that one.
He makes one every 3 months, so it's a long waiting list.
So that
you might want to start with a toupee and see how it goes.
Price $8,000.
Homegrown.
It's screen ready.
He's a pube farmer, you see. All right.
I feel that we need to move past the bit.
All right.
Get out while we're ahead.
We're talking Cooter of the Week.
Straight chillin'.
Cooter of the Week.
Juice, are you gonna be able to pick up the baton? You seem barely holding it together.
I've got it.
Okay. All right. Tell us about Cooters then.
Why do we hunt them?
Cooter's character type and a straight chillin' exclusive. Cooter must hit 3 of these 5 points to be considered a cooter, but we want the cooter with the most points. The 5 points of cooterdom are sexual deviance, manipulation, smug arrogance, overall look and attire, and overall patheticness. We've got 8 characters to choose from. Boys, let's just all treat them as the same. Like there's no reason to be talking
Emily
about
A, Emily B,
Blue,
Emily
Hugh,
my boy.
Oh no,
Hugh.
yes, yeah, no. I thought you meant like all like the 8. Like I'm like,
no,
I don't think that Emily and Kevin are exactly the same.
No. So I think we got a couple options here. Let's start with my boy Mike. He stands
Mike, that's
out to
the
me.
actor, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Mike, it seems like the obvious choice to me on one specific basis. Kind of makes him a red flag case. which is the sleeping with his friend's wife
And not
the
telling him
attempt to
about it?
blackmail himself.
Yeah.
So let me
And
do a
also maybe kill
clarification
himself.
about that. So he had slept with his friend's wife before they were together, though, right?
Right. I think so.
Yeah.
It
Or
just
while they were
seems like-
separated or something.
But he was supposed to tell him about it, and he told
It didn't.
everybody else that
Yeah.
he told him about it, but he didn't tell him about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I gathered. Yeah.
So that's manipulation.
Yes.
Yeah.
And kind
Manipulation by omission.
of pathetic.
Yeah, I agree with both
For
of those
sure.
things.
Yeah.
Now, there's
and-
moments in this movie where I feel like he is giving off, he's serving smug quite a bit in this movie, but I can't pinpoint a specific thing that he says off the top of my head that really speaks to that. It just sort of has an air of smugness.
Didn't he? Wasn't
Am I
he
wrong
like
about
trying
that?
to put down that one woman at the dinner table when they're talking about like their careers, and she's like, "Well, what do you do?" Doesn't he say something like,
Oh.
like doesn't he like kind of talk down to her about like her yoga or something? Oh, are you still doing yoga?
He does,
or
but it's also, I
something?
think it's because he resents her being there at all, because she is, Amir brought her as a guest.
Yeah,
to,
okay.
You know, that's the woman in question where like, I think there's some just tension there in general, which is not
that could
entirely
be
undeserved.
fair. That could be fair. It
Um,
is also your house, so just say
I know that's
leave.
why it's a little weird. It's like, just
Yeah.
don't have her over. Like, just
Yeah.
tell
Just
Amir,
give her
no,
all the
I don't want
ketamine.
drama at my fucking house party. Sorry.
Yeah. He's
I mean,
I
they
don't
all
think
dress
he's-
about normal.
Yeah, I don't think he's
for
sexually.
LA.
Oh no, we did hit
No,
sexual
sexual
deviance.
deviance.
Yes,
I mean,
yeah.
he hits sexual deviance.
Patheticness, manipulation, sexual deviance. That's
Smug.
3, right?
The sexual
Yeah.
deviance is just a little bit in question for me,
Unclear.
because he, like, the actual sexual component of what he did was,
Might be okay.
That's
it
true.
might
Yeah.
not, it might not be inherently a bad thing. It's the lying
That's
that he
true.
does.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. Okay.
Which goes more to manipulation than the sexual deviance.
So he
I
might
would
be
like
a
to put
cooter
a-
light.
I think
Yeah.
he's a light cooter, and I would also want to have a quick discussion about Lori, who is
Yeah,
the sexual vixen of the room, the
Oh yeah.
the
Mm.
She's
Oh,
not.
yeah.
woman,
She's not.
the
that
woman who
hot.
tries to steal her ex-boyfriend back and has pictures of him in her wallet and shit,
Yeah.
and just like is absolutely lying to people. That's one thing. She manipulates people. She's like, "Oh, Roswell, I love Roswell," and he's like, "Oh, you do? Like, you didn't recognize me?" And she's like, "No, what were you?" And he's like, "I was the main guy." And
I was
like,
in every episode.
it was like the most cringy fucking thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It's to the point where it felt very real, like,
Mm.
at least from an improv stand, so it seemed very real. And I was like, "Oh God!" And she's like, "Oh no, I guess you just have one of those faces, you know?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Fuck that, dude! You just got to own it at that point. Like, oh, I must like just say, oh, I must be thinking of a different show or something." Like,
Yeah.
it's,
Yeah.
Oh, I was thinking of Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
yeah,
Right.
I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah, so sexual deviance, she hits that because
Yes.
she's trying to get in on her guy.
Walking
And
through the door, she hits that because she's
Yeah.
like incestuous within the friend group and is just
And that
totally okay.
dress, what the fuck?
I don't remember the dress specifically.
I just like comes in and she's like, "Oh, Amir said I wouldn't be overdressed," and she's wearing this like red sexy tight dress, obviously used to kind of like, because obviously she still has feelings for the one guy and she's
Right.
trying to like seduce him, so I'm like, what the
Yeah.
fuck?
Yeah, manipulation off the charts.
Yeah.
I think arrogant, certainly, because she is no problem shit talking the man's current girlfriend
Yeah.
in the back room and kissing him and all this shit or whatever, and just being like, "Oh, you know, some people just really click, you know, other people don't really click."
She's too
And all this
tall.
shit. Yeah, she's so tall. Isn't it weird?
What
how
a
tall she is?
bitch. She's so tall.
Dude, yeah. That lady is really tough to watch in this movie. Like her and
Yeah,
Alex,
she does a good job
or
being
Mike
a piece
rather.
of shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good for
her and
her.
Mike are like really the two front runners for me. And I feel like they're both cooter lights. I don't know
Yeah.
though that there's really a hard line for a cooter.
She might hit higher than Mike, but yeah.
It's
I
a
think
matter of
multiverse soju is going to take my cooter spot.
Bob,
Oh,
you're banging yourself in some Rob orgy, apparently.
I
In
thought we
your
were-
mind.
I thought we were collapsing realities here, guys. Come on, stick with it. Got to stick to the rules. All right, let's just call it a Cooter Watch for now, with the potential for further developments.
That's the name of the first Straight
Yeah.
Chillin' film.
I still think Mike is highest, but yeah, he doesn't quite have enough to convict.
Yeah.
Still
okay.
still not great, but
Yeah.
Mike
Tough
is
Cooter
Cooter
segment
Light.
this time.
Cooter Light. It's a hard cooter. We don't like that.
We don't like it at all.
Gentlemen, let's talk about what we've been watching this week.
Hey gang, what you been watching?
Randu, what you been watching?
Oh man, I have such a backlog. I don't think we've done this in 2 weeks now. Maybe we just skipped 1 week, but I have a bunch. I'm gonna speed through a few that I don't really want to talk about too much because it's not that crazy. Watched the documentary Found Footage Phenomenon on Shudder, and that was enjoyable enough. Not perfect, but it spoke to the spirit of things, and I think it was, as a found footage fan, I liked it. Trainwreck Woodstock 99. I also got through that as well, which really just wasn't anything new for me. It just had the most important thing about it to me is the multiple new heinous things that the organizers say on camera without an ounce of shame. That's the most worthwhile thing about the whole thing, is just watching people just absolutely have no shame whatsoever. Christine,
like 50
watched...
guys. What? It was like 50 guys.
I mean, you're gonna go up and say break stuff. Of course, there are people are gonna burn down the thing.
Yeah.
No amount of
the boys
hired
will be
security
boys.
guards, aka people from the street, are gonna be able to stop Fred Durst.
Nobody
it's his
can.
fault.
Nobody's ever had a successful music event ever in this country. It's to be expected.
You're gonna have some sexual assaults. It's just gonna happen.
You
Like, what the fuck are you talking about, guy? Please shut the fuck up for the rest of time.
My
God. Yes, you guys talked about this on a mini episode, The Innocents. I did watch that, and I thought it was pretty good. I guess I didn't have the same level of darkness as a response. Like, I didn't feel it as heavily as other people did, but I can understand why. It's just like, I don't know. It's just, Nordic super babies to me, super baby geniuses too. I watched Black Widow. It lives up to its terrible reputation. I watched Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, which was fine, but I actually think I might, I don't know, I might regret giving it the score I gave it before. I don't remember what I gave it, but I remember being more
high
positive
on it.
I feel like I've tempered on that a little bit. So, I watched, okay, these are the ones I really wanted to talk about. WNUF Halloween Special and the sequel, which had a screening in Baltimore. Those were both a lot of fucking fun. That is a fun movie to watch in an audience. If you get a chance to watch either of those in an audience, I recommend that. It's a lot of fun.
It's been a while since I checked that out, since we did our first double feature, maybe Ghost Watch and WNUF. Maybe I'll revisit this.
Which I'll never forget feeling so sour on WNUF that first time I watched it, but it was only really because it was set up next to a War of the Worlds
Ghost
level,
Watch.
that was
like
our
cultural icon event thing. Yeah, it was a bad pairing for that movie, but
I thought
it is a fun movie on its own.
Perfect double feature.
Well, it is.
No, it's a good double feature, but it does that movie no.
Yeah, it kind of
favors
WNUF.
It becomes the ugly friend by default. So, and that's just not the case. It's a good movie. So there's that. I finished up The Rehearsal with Nathan Fielder, which has a lot of buzz at the moment and is renewed for a second season. I recommend that show. It defies explanation. Even it's impossible to really break down what that show is, but there's a lot of coming to grips with the uncertainty of just living life going on in that movie and that show. And there's also just some really bizarre manipulations at play. There's some ethical quandaries as well. So I don't know, but I really enjoy it. And I think it's a pretty worthwhile show. I would recommend it. I finished up The Boys season 3, so I'm caught up on that. And I'm glad that I did. That is an immensely enjoyable show to watch. Everybody, Juice, you've said how dark it is and how heavy it is. and it is to some extent because of the parallels to the real world, but I
Yeah.
think they do a really good job of making it like bombastic and silly in that sort of like Guy Pierce kind of way, where it's like this, like I think it's Guy Pierce, the filmmaker for Lucky Number 11. What's his name? Fucking
Are you thinking of Guy Ritchie, who did
Guy
not
Ritchie. Thank you.
direct
It was one of the guys.
Lucky Number
Oh,
12?
okay. Well,
I don't
that
think he-
realm, I'm not
Okay,
good with.
okay,
He didn't do
yeah.
Slevin. Okay.
Lock, stock.
that-
Okay, I gotcha.
Lock, stock. Yeah. Okay. I couldn't think of
gotcha.
another example, or else I would have gotten there quicker. But
Guy
yeah.
Ritchie.
Anyway, I like looking at it like that. I love the
Mm.
needle drops in that show. They have.
Yeah,
I grew
they
up on
do
Billy
have good
Joel,
needle
man. I was
drops.
the nerd who loved Billy Joel in high school. So, yeah, the fucking Billy Joel
Hell
needle
yeah.
drops, the slightly deeper cuts than most people know, really speaks to my inner child. So I'm very in
I like
favor of
those
that.
French hip hop tracks are always dropping.
Yeah, there's good shit there too, for sure. And like really just like the fucking Brit rock rather.
Mhm.
All that shit's great. Love it. And then I watched The Bear, the FX show, which is fucking great. It's like a
Yeah.
really it's everybody calls it like a very chaotic show. I've had multiple people that I know tell me that either they or somebody they know who works in the industry or has worked in the industry had to just like turn it off because it was too much for them to watch it. It was like PTSD for them, which is crazy. It's about a chef, by the way, if anybody doesn't know. It's about a chef in a restaurant that's very chaotic. But like to me, it's kind of a mellow show because every scene of that show that exists outside of dinner service or like trying to get the business together, it's like we've got this really mellow like garage rock going on, this very like it's like the most Chicago show I've seen in a long time, and it really makes me want to go visit Chicago area again. I don't know, I really like it, and I feel like I'm just participating in the buzz for that show really because it's got a lot of it right now. Last but not least, playing Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze for the first time, and that is a very fun platforming game. That's all I'll really say
I've
about
never
it for
played
now.
that.
I hadn't either, but it's on Switch now. I played it. I'm playing it. It's a pretty rock solid platformer. So there you go.
All right. Juice, what you been watching?
Not a whole lot. There's mostly a lot of things I've forgotten to mention over the past couple of weeks. The Sandman. I have been watching The Sandman. I know it came out a couple weeks ago now. I'm still not done with it. I am not familiar with the source material. And so on this kind of show, I don't know how deep I am into it. It's many episodes, but I don't know how many there are total. But it's like roller coaster for me. I go up and down. There's a lot of cool visuals, a lot of cool storytelling aspects. But then the way the narrative is told is very strange and hard to follow sometimes as somebody who's not familiar with it or what's supposed to be happening. But I'm intrigued enough definitely to finish it. I'm having a hard time sometimes, and I'm hoping it all kind of comes together in this big piece in the end. I just gotta get there. But really cool visuals and ideas, some fun acting and stuff like that. So I'm taking on that. And really the only other thing I've been watching recently is sometimes for breakfast I'll be watching that old school X-Men cartoon from the 90s. Because it's on Disney Plus and I haven't watched it in a long time, and they're gonna revamp it or something. Since it just got bought from like into Disney or whatever. That's there, and it's specifically called like X-Men 97 or something. Like they're bringing it back. I don't know, whatever. Which I really enjoyed it as a kid, and I was curious to watch it again because I always think of, Batman the animated series as like the bar, that's or not the bar, but just like the pinnacle of 90s kids. And it's not that, it's not quite that good, but it was better actually than I was kind of expecting it to be. They do a lot of good stuff with telling the stories of the mutant world and what kind of X-Men is about, and I can't help but think like, oh my god, if this came out today, people would just be too bitchy about how woke it was or whatever, because I don't know, it's really relevant about being different and people hating you and people coming after you and persecuting you and building giant robots to hunt you down and show what you know. But
Yeah,
it's good. It's
just
good.
like real life.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I mean, but it's solid, and I was kind of like surprised at how like solid it is. So I've been enjoying that. Yeah, X-Mangs, Sandmangs, and X-Mangs. Bob, what you been watching?
Yeah, I got a few things I'll mention here. Most recently, I went up to Sunray and they brought back that movie RRR for a screening. Are you guys familiar with this?
I am not.
I've heard so much buzz about that fucking movie.
It's a Bollywood movie, and it's a spectacle, man. It's wild. I think this was streaming on maybe Netflix for a while. It might still be there. I'm not sure. If you haven't ever seen a Bollywood movie, they're long in the tooth, man. This is a 3-hour movie, but they're also they have a lot of like
Koreans.
Yeah, for sure. They got a lot of song and dance numbers in them. And they're like, this is not a horror movie by any stretch of the imagination. It's more of like an action adventure kind of thing. Basically, it's about India being occupied by the British, and there's two main characters in the movie. They're both from India, but one of them is like a turncoat, basically. Like he's an officer working for the British Army, and his job is to like hunt out this one guy, this one like local, and this local is looking for a girl that was taken from his tribe, basically. And they're pitted against each other, but they have no idea who the other is or what they look like. And they have like this weird happenstance, like meet cute and become best fucking friends. So they're hunting each other down, but they don't know who they are, and they become friends. And it's like this wild movie, man. I think honestly my biggest complaint is that it was just too long for me. Like, if had it been a 2-hour movie, I'd be like, watch it, insanely entertaining. But like, god damn it, we showed up maybe like 15 minutes early, and it had like a 10-15 minute intermission, so we were at the theater for like 3.5 hours easily, and I was just like falling asleep, man, tired as shit. So if you could watch it at your house and split it up into like two viewings, check it out. It's definitely also got like superhero vibes. So like, these two dudes are like not ever said to have superhuman powers, but they are absolutely doing things that no normal person could ever do. like throwing motorcycles
Fast and Furious style,
like 100 yards, just like crazy, like physically like manhandling tigers, like just crazy shit. It's wild. I haven't seen a Bollywood produced film in several years, and like, this shit is, I can't imagine how much money they put into it. It is a production for sure. So I don't know if that interests you, check it out. I also watched Exorcist: The Beginning, which is a prequel that came out in the early 2000s, I think. I might have to double check that. Yeah.
Didn't you bitch about that movie to me for years? Am I wrong?
No, this was my first time watch. I never seen
must have
been
another one then.
And it's interesting. Father Karras, the older father in the original Exorcist. It might not be Karras. It's the other one, I think. I can't remember. I'm blanking on his name. But it's like, it's his story basically, and he's in Africa investigating this church that shouldn't exist where it does, and like, it's an archaeological dig, and he is on site as sort of like a subject matter expert. And of course, he goes into the temple. It starts off with like this Indiana Jones kind of vibe, honestly. He's like going into this temple to figure out what's going on. And of course, it's like really fucked up, and there's an upside down cross, and Pazuzu stuff happens. And it's like kind of a cool concept, and it starts off really strong. And it feels like they just can't help themselves and just like take a huge shit in the bed. They they take a swing, and they're like, no, that's not big enough, and just gotta swing for the fucking fences, just it loses all grounding, and it just turns really dumb. Unfortunately,
it's Alien.
Yeah, right. Yeah. It started off
Pazuzu versus Predator.
It started off strong, and I was like, damn, this might actually be okay. And then it just really wasn't in the end, which was unfortunate.
That would be
Mixed
kind of
bag.
a cool idea. Aliens come and invade Earth, but then they like get possessed by a demon. And they don't know how to
Demon
deal with our
predators.
religions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Demalien. Last thing I'll
Power of
mention
Christ.
is a movie called Black Bear that I just happened upon. It's on Amazon Prime.
He's a black
so you can-
bear.
Big old bear. He's Black Bear. This is an Aubrey Plaza joint, and it's definitely like a low budget, like mumblecore kind of a movie here. And it's got One Cut of the Dead vibes, and that's, I don't know, it's hard not to spoil. It's got One Cut of the Dead vibes, and it's about a couple who's they're on vacation on a lake, and then they have a friend come stay with them, and that friend is Aubrey Plaza, and she's like kind of a shitbag, and there's crazy twists and turns throughout it. But if you're into like mumblecore, like low budget dramas, like set in like one place with just a handful of characters, it's very much about the characters and their interaction. I recommend checking it out. I was like really surprised, honestly. Aubrey Plaza, hats off to her. She's got way more range than I give her credit for. I feel like every movie I see her in, she's just Aubrey Plaza. She's just like the same kind of like deadpan delivery, like, but not in this movie, man. She's all over the place. Like she has crazy range, and that was really interesting to see. I dig it. Also, if you just really dig One Cut of the Dead, watch this movie. I recommend it for sure. That's it. That's what I've been watching. We got one more segment, and that is, of course, our hotline screams.
Oh shit.
Hotline scream.
All right. If you're listening and would like to call in and leave a voicemail to be featured on next week's show, hit us up at 904-638-3231. We got like 6 voicemails. Most of them came in over the last couple hours and are relatively short. But we'll get to those soon. First up, we're going to hear from our boy, Scott. Let's hear what Scott has to say.
What up, boys? It's Scott calling from Toronto again. Definitely got spooky season on the mind here. Leaves are falling a lot, so it's got me thinking about all that. And I thought I'd call to respond because you fellas had prompts in recent episodes about how do you get ready for spooky season and spooky season recommendations. So, yeah, to get ready for Halloween, I do put a few decorations out. Recently on my travels, I got a little Day of the Dead statuette down in Mexico. They don't celebrate Halloween down there, but they have this like festival called Day of the Dead, in which they like to honor and remember their dead. So I got a little Grim Reaper statue with like a red cloak, and he's got his scythe and skull face. So I'm gonna put that right by my jack-o'-lantern. It's sort of gonna be like a decoration I'll keep out. And yeah, I do always like to carve a jack-o'-lantern too. It's kind of a tradition. It's kind of cliche, but gets me in the right mood. I'll put on like Trick or Treat or like Carpenter's OG Halloween, like when carving that. In terms of movie recommendations, I like to mix it up. For rewatch, I usually do like some of the Hammer films. They kind of get me in the mood. It's just like the classic monsters. I really like the second Christopher Lee Dracula movie, Dracula Prince of Darkness. It's probably my favorite of those. It's a good spooky one. I haven't seen it, but the Hammer film Curse of the Werewolf looks cool too. Yeah, and this year I also want to rewatch Haunt because I only saw that once on Shudder, so that was pretty good. In terms of new movies, I do want to check out that Hell House LLC movie you guys mentioned for the coming up. The trailer does look pretty good, but if I'm being honest, my vote has to go to Rob Zombie Halloween 2. Because I love when when you boys destroy movies that are so bad they're good. And that movie has a line in the trailer I saw where Laurie Strode is talking to my therapist coach and says, "The nightmares are chewing at my head again." So it looks like it's pretty trash, but anyway, Hell House will be fun. Looks like that one's going to win. But anyway, boys, that'll be fun. Thanks again, and peace.
Scott
Nice.
knows.
I've been thinking
knows.
about rewatching Haunt this year too. I don't think I've seen it since we covered it, and I intended to kind of switch it out every couple years, but I haven't yet, so I might rewatch that one as well.
It's a good one.
Maybe
I was really
2, since Terrifier 2's coming up.
Yeah, Terrifier as well, since Terrifier 2 is coming out.
Yes.
I was
Terrifier
pleasantly
2,
surprised with
Terrifier
Haunt, for sure. And also, speaking of Rob Zombie, the credits on Haunt has that really like slow female cover of Dragula that's badass. I can't I'm blanking on the artist's name, man, but it's really, really good.
Wait, what movie has that?
Haunt. And
Okay,
yeah, the credits roll. Yeah, it's like a slow
I
cover
do
of
remember
Dragula.
that, yeah.
It's badass.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say thanks for voting correctly, Scott. You know how to vote.
Oh God.
I like that. I like your reasoning, but I don't like your vote. Yeah, I don't like going to the spooky season preparations or whatever. I want to speak a little bit to that because today I was at Lowe's and I had my first true spooky season is imminent feeling because I was up at Lowe's for whatever reason, and somebody came on the intercom and said, "Will the customer who was trying to buy a 12-foot skeleton please come to customer service?" And so the 12-foot skeletons are back in business.
Oh yeah.
Hell
They
yeah.
brought them back.
Oh yeah.
And man, that was like just a huge satisfying moment for me. So I'm excited to see some of this shit start to take shape.
Damn, I can't believe leaves are falling already. So coming back from Vietnam, I did get the taste of like while I was gone, the weather changed. And so while like the nip in the air, I was like, woo, yeah.
The chill.
Yeah. But I won't get leaves changing for like another month and a half.
Scott's in Toronto.
Yeah,
sure
Toronto. Yes. I was just surprised to hear that in late August. I didn't realize the leaves were already starting to fall that early.
I'm just sweating through all my clothes still, so I can't relate.
Yeah, same, man. During the day it's 100 degrees and you don't want to be outside at all. But I will say, like last night, we ate dinner outside, and it was like after 6 o'clock, extremely pleasant with a wonderful breeze. So like the evenings are like rolling in really nicely. So at least we got that. Yeah, thanks for calling, Scott. Always good to hear from you, buddy. Next up, we're gonna hear from our boy G Baby. Let's hear what he has to say.
Hey, chilling crew. It's G Baby. Long time no talk. Calling in because I wanted to hit you with some pickup lines. I was also lucky enough to be on the Ghoulish University podcast guest host, and one of the it was like rock, paper, scissors, and whoever lost had to call in. I was like, to Straight Chillin' and give them the best pickup line. I was like, shit, I was already doing that. So I got three I'll hit you with rapid fire, and I'll address them to each of our beloved hosts. So first up, we got Bob. Hey, Bob. So I'm having a garage sale at my house this weekend. I'll give you a great deal. All clothes are 100% off, buddy.
Sold.
And then we'll go G Quaid because he's such an ass man. Hey, G Quaid, Randy, Gandy, did you sit in sugar? Because you have a pretty sweet ass. And then last but not least, my boy, Small Batch Stains. Are your parents beavers? Because damn, son. Damn, boy. Yeah. And then a little retro flashback. I think the one that'll never be outdone is when I got hit up by the gal who chewed and had the conch shell on her inner thigh. She said if you put your ear to it, you can smell the ocean.
Oh my God.
A little flashback. That's one of my all-time faves. I don't think that.
God damn.
But anyways, take care, crew. Peace out.
That's a pretty good one.
No, well, I remember that call.
Yeah,
That shit cracks me
classic.
up.
That's a
Classic.
pretty good one.
Oh my god! I wish
Just
I knew
a
what
mouthful of
episode that was
chew.
attached to. Yo, what a lady! Mouth. Oh man! You put your ear there, you can smell the ocean. Whoa!
Oh man.
Yowza.
Boys,
Too funny.
boys.
Ooh, she's a fancy flapjack.
Now that's a woman.
Whoa!
Shit. Thanks
All
for
right.
calling in, G baby. You would have successfully picked my ass up. That's for sure.
I appreciate the Pacino in your delivery.
Yeah,
Sweet
Randy wants you to
ass.
eat his ass. It's so sweet.
Little powdered donut. So sweet. All
Yeah.
that sugar on it.
highly
thank you.
Appreciate
caloric,
you,
but-
G baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Thanks for calling. It seems as though all the other Ghoulish University squad also called in and provided us with their pickup lines.
This prompt is catnip, is my conclusion.
Yeah, I'm here for it, man. They got some funny shit. Next up,
Sure.
we're gonna hear from our boy Nasty Nate. Let's hear what he's got to say.
Hey, what up, guys? I was calling in, one about the prompt, and two, I lost the physical challenge, so I was tasked to call in with a cheesy pickup line. So I will do it in the style of our good friend Naderade. Hello, lady. Are you my appendix? Because you give me a funny feeling in my stomach, and I should probably take you out. All right. Also, I figured from last week's episode, I will attempt to do some new bump material for you for maybe the Cooter segment. Juice by Cooter, juice by Cooter, juice by Cooter. Oh!
Oh, oh,
You can take me out, Nate, anytime you want.
We all know this is true.
I'm a little
But
worried
yeah,
about
thanks
being a slut.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that was I didn't hear the setup for his line.
His
What
pickup
was it?
line?
Like
He
Yeah.
said, "Are you my appendix? Because you give me a funny feeling in my stomach, and I should take you out."
okay.
Right?
That
Did I
that
remember
works.
that right? Okay.
Nailed it.
Okay.
And you only missed the Jack Black from Saving Silverman style. Hello, ladies. At the beginning, which I loved.
Lady.
Favorite part. All right. Well,
Yeah.
All right.
thanks for sending that, man.
Yeah, thanks for calling in, Nate. Ironically, we're gonna hear from Naderade soon. But
Did everyone lose the physical challenge? Is
Yeah.
that what I'm hearing?
How many challenges were there?
maybe you could say they all won, Randy. Maybe you could say
Yeah,
that.
okay. All right.
Next up, we're gonna hear from my boy Brandon. Let's hear what he has to say.
What up, bitches? It's Brandon again. And I'm not calling in at some stupid hour blitzed out of my mind. It's currently 1:57 p.m. Just finished some lunch. So I'm just calling in for your pickup line thingy, since, I mean, it's normally what I do anyways, but I figured I'd call in again to do that. And I feel like this one, Hydraberg will probably use this one, because it's right up his alley. Hey girl, you like pancakes? Well, how about I hop in that ass? Yeah, it's pretty bad. Anyways, keep it real. He's hell yeet, hell skeet, zibbity zabbity. Pierce.
How about a house of pancakes in that ass?
Ooh, she's a fancy flapjack.
It's a fancy.
I mean, it's gotta be
flapjack.
used. Yeah. That was like
I don't
that's
think you're
night
getting
and
anybody
day.
with that.
Both literal. I think my favorite part of that call was just finish some lunch. I love that.
Fucking crushed.
Yeah, man, I just crushed lunch.
Bitch ass. You don't even
Lunch
know.
looks like a bitch.
Hey, so many chips. Fuck.
That yogurt didn't stand a fucking prayer, boo.
Fucking housed it. Housed my Go-Gurt. I don't think anybody's gonna get picked up by that line. Good luck. God bless if you use that. It's just
I would love to see
against
somebody
yourself.
try.
Hop in that ass? Yeah, nobody's going for that. Maybe that like seashell leg lady. Maybe she'll go.
Sure, it sounds like she's down for anything.
She's down
to be at the
clown.
right lizard lounge. You know what I'm saying?
You just gotta have a pulse, baby. That is fine. She's ready to roll.
I got some ocean you could sniff.
Get a load of this ocean.
Woo!
Ocean spray,
Good
my
God.
dog. You can have that with your lunch.
I hate it and I love it.
Wash your lunch down.
Wash your lunch down with some ocean.
Hey Bob, who's the next call?
Next up, thanks for calling. Thanks for calling.
Get a little ocean spray on your face.
Good to hear from you. Next up, we're gonna hear from our boy
Depot.
Naderade. Let's hear what Naderade has to say.
Hey, what's up, boys? It's Naderade. Calling to give you guys some pickup lines. I don't know if you noticed, but I'm very good with the ladies. Especially this one. This one they love. Are you a jack-o'-lantern? Because you're lighting up the room. Nailed it. There's another one here I really like. Oh, yeah. Are you a monster? Because you look franken fine.
Oof.
Yep, that's about it. All of those work pretty much all the time. All right. Bye.
I'm just laughing at the idea that a jack-o'-lantern is lighting up any room.
Yeah, I was like, shouldn't it be outside?
A floodlight or something, like just a light
Largely
bulb.
dim.
Like, there's so many options. I understand it's a horror podcast, and I'm always in favor of more pumpkins, but it's just
I love
such an
that
odd
the
choice.
practicality of it is what's fucking Randy up.
Dude, I mean, if it's a,
That's not enough light.
I'm a utilitarian with my with my pickup lines, of
Pumpkins.
course. You know,
Pumpkin.
sometimes you just want to smell the ocean. You know,
Sometimes you want to swim in it.
You just need the nice,
God.
cool spray, you know.
it's a
brush it
foamy.
across
It's
your
got
face.
foamy turf today.
Oh,
boys.
Randy.
Foamy surf, rather.
Randy.
Got the red tide today. I hate it. I love it.
He's got a fungus they ain't identified yet.
Oh, ah. We're in
Roll
some-
tide,
we're in
roll.
some dark territory.
We're gonna get done, dude.
Oh shit!
How many more voicemails do
Oh,
we have?
Yeah,
we
one
just
more
got
voicemail.
One more.
Let's
Thanks
go
for
ahead
calling,
and do
Nader.
it.
Last but not
Thanks,
least, we're
Nader.
gonna hear from our girl Logan. Let's hear what she has to say.
What up, crew? It's Logan, and I've got a pickup line. I never had to use it on Diego, so that works out. But here we go. What's up, boy? I'm like a haunted house, 'cause you'll scream once you're inside me. Anyway, I hope y'all have a good week, and party on. Deuces.
I feel like the female to male pickup line is an untapped natural resource, largely. So I approve on that basis alone. But also, wow, scream, scream,
Jesus Christ! Honestly, like that's pretty funny though. Like it is a funny pickup line. I think
it is.
That's good.
Yeah,
it's good. You know, at least you're not saying you're gonna light up the room or something. You know, that's just silly. That's just a silly thing. Can't
everybody
have
knows
these-
jack-o'-lanterns don't light up rooms. Fucking duh.
I'm going into a haunted house holding a jack-o'-lantern so I can see my way. Oh
Yeah,
man,
I'm down with that.
I was with this girl last night and she had me all like
Because her body is haunted and I was inside of it.
Your body is haunted.
It
Oh
was
shit.
tight.
There's some spooky ghosts.
Her
in
name's
there.
Regan. I don't know if you've ever met her.
She makes great split pea soup. That's what I've heard.
It's very compelling.
Thanks for calling, Logan. Damn, that was a squad. Thanks for calling in, everybody. Again, if you want to hit us up next week, drop us your favorite pickup line at 904-638-3231. You guys have any other prompts you want to throw out there for next week?
I mean, nothing's gonna live up to that apparently, but
yeah, damn.
I don't know. Hey, would you kill yourself if you were in a coherent style situation?
Whoa.
Would you kill your alternate self?
In a multiverse type of situation.
Yeah.
Also, any ideation on suicide? I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. That's not true.
Yeah.
That's you
Randy
know what I
came out a
meant.
little hot.
You know what I meant.
How dare you!
So
yeah, no,
if
but really,
you were
like,
faced
what would
with
be your
yourself,
reaction? What would be your reaction in a coherent style scenario?
would you try to replace yourself in a better situation? Would you try to remove
Would you
a
form a
version of
basketball team
yourself?
with yourself? What would you
Here are
do?
your options. It's marry, fuck, kill yourself. What would you do?
Mary's on the table?
Yeah, why not, dude?
And
I
can
mean, we
we
already
say
share
Mary
bank
is
accounts,
just
so-
you're teaming up, you're squadding up?
Yeah, you're just a really
Sure.
good team.
Just
You got your
partnership?
back.
Yeah,
You got each other's
partnership.
sixes.
So it's a domestic partnership then.
Yeah,
I don't know. I'd feel bad killing another soju. I think.
That's not
Yeah.
surprising.
How could I kill someone so perfect?
Yeah, I mean, I'm robbing that reality of a good guy. So I don't know. I think I'm trying to team up.
Bob just went full pterodactyl for a second. Did you hear that shit?
If there's anybody I trust more than anyone else, it's a soju.
God knows that's
Call in with your game plan for
Can
coherence.
only count on myself. So
I guess I'll just have to plow myself.
says Bob, of course.
Says Juice. That's what Juice said.
Because of the implication.
Yeah, hit us up with your voicemails. 904-638-3231. We're going to be back next week with a brand new show. As always, we're hitting up another Patreon pick. This one is chosen by Alex K. The movie is The Gift from 2015. Whoa. Slam it into your eye holes. Get ready for next week's show. I haven't looked up The Gift. I don't know if it's streaming anywhere. I know it was on Netflix for a minute. I'm not sure if it's still there. I'm sure it's very easy to find, though. So check that out. Get ready for next week's show. Until then, please rate, review, and subscribe to us on iTunes.
It
Hit
is
us up.
on Netflix in Korea.
It is. Ooh, in
And in
Korea.
America.
And, okay.
Oh,
Nice.
okay.
Easy to find then. Okay, yeah. Check it out. Hit us up on the Instagram at Straight Chilling Podcast, on Twitter str8_chilling. Send an email to straightchillingpodcast@gmail.com. And if you want to join in on our Slack channel community, hit us up on one of those social media outlets and I'll send you a link so you can do so. Until next week, as always, all you mother truckers, please keep chilling.